Singh. These are the top headlines from the startup space. Online gaming companies come under GST scanner. Minister of State for Finance tells the Rajya Sabha that these companies have received 71 show cause notices involving GST evasion worth 1.12 lakh crore rupees in FY23 and the first 7 months of FY24. He adds GST demand not yet determined as show cause notices pending adjudication.
Union Minister of State Rajiv Chandrasekhar meets social media companies and industry stakeholders, flags only partial compliance on IT rules and deepfakes. Sources say that the government has given them 7 more days to comply, adds that the centre may issue advisories if necessary.
Baiju calls for an annual general meeting on December 20 to approve the audited standalone and consolidated financials for FY22. The approval of the appointment of MSK and Associates as the statutory auditors of the company will also be taken up at the AGM.
Unacademy co-founder Gaurav Munjal announces that the test preparation business currently has reserves of 1,800 crore rupees in the bank, letting it command over 4 years of cash runway. Munjal adds that the cash runway will further extend to 8 years because of lower cash burn.
Rapido forays into cab-hailing segment, launching its cab pan-India with an initial fleet of 1 lakh vehicles. Instead of a commission-based model, Rapido has introduced a subscription fee-based model.
Online entertainment ticketing company Book My Show records a net profit in FY23 after incurring a loss last year. Book My Show's operating revenue stood at 976 crores in FY23 compared to 277 crores it recorded in FY22.
Google develops an AI-powered spam detection system that can help spot adversarial text manipulations like emails with special characters, emojis, typos, and other characters that easily bypass Gmail defenses. Those are the headlines we've been tracking for you this evening. Dairy fintech startup Digivriddhi Technologies, or DGV, has raised $6 million in its Series A funding round led by Umidyar Network India. Existing investors, Omnivore and InfoEdge Ventures, also doubled down in the round. Now, to tell us how DGV is creating the last-mile financial access infrastructure for 3.6 million dairy farmers, joining me now is its founder and CEO, Raghavan Venkateshan. Raghavan, welcome to Startup Street. Now, DGV provides dairy farmers and micro-enterprises access to institutional credit. So tell us how you're simplifying digitized payments across the dairy value chain and what is the kind of impact you've made on the lives of the dairy farmers associated with you?
Yeah, thank you for having me here. See, I would want to obviously start with saying that India's largest crop is dairy. It will be surprising to note that dairy contributes 25% of India's agri GDP.
Yeah.
And the most popular crops in India, paddy, wheat, and sugarcane, collectively don't contribute as much as dairy does. And that's why DGV is a very vertically focused mass market play in this BFSI space. So we act as a conduit between the BFSI and the dairy ecosystem. When we started our journey, we started with payments, which is what we call DGV Pay, where we converted the point where the farmers come and pour their milk. Milk is a perishable commodity. It needs to be collected morning and evening. So the point at which they pour the milk, that itself we converted into a banking outlet. We consumed all the APIs from NPCI's portfolio, and that's how we simplified. Behind us are banks like Federal, HDFC, Karnataka Bank. So we use the APIs through them, and we have simplified the payments to the farmers. The second thing, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. You currently work with 5 leading banks, government entities, and 75% of all dairy processors, including Amul. You were mentioning this earlier. If you could further elaborate on your offerings with each of your partners, how are you creating the last mile financial access infrastructure for 3.6 million dairy farmers? You mentioned DGV Pay. You were talking about DGV Connect. Other offerings, if you could elaborate on.
Sure. So see, very soon we realized that payments alone cannot solve the entire jigsaw puzzle for a dairy farmer or a micro enterprise. So how we can offer DGV Pay to address the payments and the liability side of the equation, how we created a proprietary loan origination system which bespoke caters to only dairy farmers and dairy micro enterprises. It is a complete digital solution which we did in collaboration with the Reserve Bank of India Innovation Hub and got inaugurated by the Honorable Governor himself at the H.P. Ormus Memorial Lecture. So what we did is that we used the data points of the farmer, their daily pour the milk, the vintage, the frequency, and those data points to create a scorecard for the farmer. And then Bespoke created an LOS which integrates with the bank's loan management system or the core banking system. Today, what a farmer took 60 days to get a cattle loan, and they used to use the word cattle loan. We have changed that from a cattle loan to a bovine loan because now it addresses both the cow and the buffalo, and it's a complete 100% digital. From 60 days to 30 minutes is what we have got down from a point of discovery to a sanction. And now we are also entering the insurance side.
Yes.
And then just like we revolutionized and reimagined the entire loan journey for a dairy farmer, we are now applying our mind to the insurance side of how we can cater to this 300 million bovines in India and help them get insured. So DGV Pay addressed the payments and the liabilities. DGV Money addressed the entire loan origination system. And DGV Connect is our marketplace. We also realized that the farmer does not have access to quality bovine. So you discover the bovine on DGV Connect, get it funded through DGV Money. The loan is created at the bank's book, and the collections happen at the point of the milk pouring using DGV Pay.
Yes.
And that's why DGV is an integrated dairy fintech and
Absolutely, and thank you for taking us through the entire business model. But Raghavan, let's quickly talk about your Series A fundraise. This marks the second institutional funding since inception in 2019. What are your fund allocation plans? What are the expansion plans? Any new offerings in the pipeline? You know, you mentioned you've entered the insurance sector. What's happening there?
So we're coming up with the digital bovine insurance, and we're working with the insurance companies to use the data points on our marketplace to do the entire underwriting. That's one key offering which will be coming up. The money will be essentially used to now expand into other geographies. We have entered into Karnataka. We are going to replicate the Gujarat model here as well. In Andhra, AP Amul, in Telangana with the private sector dairies, in Maharashtra with an NDDB dairy services. So we are going across the entire gamut of public, private, and FPOs in the dairies, and on the other side, various kinds of banks as well.
All right. We wish you the very best for all your future targets. Many thanks, Raghavan, for joining us on Startup Street today.
All right, cross-border logistics startup ShipGlobal has raised $2.5 million in a seed funding round from early-stage venture capital firm InfoEdge Ventures and Temasek. The company plans to use these to scale up its tech capabilities, expand its business operations and global footprint. Now, this is the very first time that the startup, which was set up in 2022, has raised institutional capital. Joining me now to discuss this funding and take us through what ShipGlobal has in store for the year ahead is its co-founder and CTO, Angad Arora. Angad, welcome to Startup Street. Thanks very much for your time here. Very briefly for our viewers, tell us what you're doing since you started your operations last year, how much you've exported GMV worth of in the 1 year, and how many sellers are you currently working with and generating revenues of what level?
Oh, thank you so much, Ritu, for having me at the show. So to give you an overall idea, ShipGlobal is a cross-border logistics platform. We enable Indian MSMEs, SMEs, e-commerce sellers, D2C brands to ship their products across the globe. To state it in a simpler manner, we just pick up the parcels from their doorstep and deliver it to their customers' doorstep across the world. Now, starting in the beginning of 2022, we started with just 3 co-founders and just one seller, and ended the year currently we have around 15,000 merchants across India shipping through ShipGlobal, and the total GMV of goods which we have shipped through ShipGlobal stands at around plus more than 3,000 crore rupees. So this journey has been great, and ShipGlobal enabling small and sellers across India to export has been really great for us.
So this is your first institutional fundraise. I believe you raised, some amount from Ashni Grover earlier. That was undisclosed. But how do you plan to raise this, deploy this $2.5 million check that you've got? When you say global expansion, product expansion, what do you mean? What geographies are you eyeing?
So see, when we talk about global expansions, basically we optimize and open up new trade routes through which we can ship the goods from India across the world. Now, opening up new trade routes and optimizing these routes helps us in reducing the cost, which in turn helps our vendors, our customers to be more competitive at a global scale. So right now, like we are exploring better routes to Canada, to US, to Germany, so that we can bring down the costs and help our customers to expand and be more competitive in a global market. So that's and we'll be utilizing the funds. Along with that, we right now we would like to start increasing our technology stack, open more regional offices, which gives us much better coverage of tier 2 and tier 3 cities. Along with that, we'll be investing some funds in educating and facilitating the MSMEs and SMEs, enter into global trade.
Angad, since you brought up costs, if you were to take the industry average index as one, what's your average cost structure like? I mean, are you below that? Are you above that? What's the difference?
Okay, so the best thing about ShipGlobal is we charge for what you ship. So industry norms were of shipping at 500 grams, like parcel size minimum. They charge at slab wise.
Okay.
We charge for 50 grams. Our slabs are very small. So when you talk about like a 50-gram parcel, we are like, when you talk about the cost, we are around 70 to 80% cheaper than what the other options were in the market. So
Okay.
that really helped us in actually, providing a better solution to our customers.
Is that what helped you break even very early in your business? Mid last year, you were profitable. How were you able to achieve that? And if you could give us a sense of, how this would pan out in the year ahead.
So see, profitability was our objective since day one. We had seen a lot of startups burning money. So our objective was to stay profitable while creating a very valuable product. So first thing we did was we were a very asset-light company. We made sure that we don't, start doing capital expenditures. Along with that, instead of going for a price war, we had our prices set and we focused on better customer experience, which in turn enabled us to get a lot of word of mouth publicity, which helped us in acquiring new customers without investing in marketing. Our marketing spend has been less than 0.5%. So, that really helped us in growing and expanding with the word of mouth. Along with that, we made sure that we scale our operations, our whole ecosystem as we grew, rather than investing on day one. So, consolidate, this helped us in, keeping a profitable approach.
You earlier told us you're working with about 15,000 sellers in India. What sort of growth are you seeing month on month with this number? And if you look at the cross-border opportunity for logistics that you're in, how much market share do you think you'd be able to capture, given the vast presence of network players in this network, whether it's deep-pocketed ones or new ones like you?
So currently we are experiencing like averaging of 30 to 50% month-over-month growth. Indian e-commerce sector is growing at a phenomenal pace, and we are growing along with it. And in the future, like right now, we won't be taking percentage-wise of the market. We have not made a huge dent, but with the new funds coming in, we expect to grow and take a major chunk from the e-commerce exports from India.
Okay, we hope you're able to make a bigger dent in future. But thanks very much, Angad, for your time here. Wish you the best with your venture. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right, on that note, it's time for us to head into a short break. But coming up next, online gaming companies have seen strong growth in the past years. But will the next GST regime and retrospective tax actions against companies pose a challenge for the players? We tell you right after this short break. Stay tuned.
From FY20
Welcome back. You're watching Startup Street. Now, India is the second largest consumer of online games globally after China. 42.5 crore people in India play online games. However, the debate over GST on online gaming companies, that remains a challenge for the sector. The government today informed the Rajya Sabha that in FY23 and the first 7 months of 2024, that is financial year 24, online gaming companies were sent 71 show-cause notices involving GST evasions of 1.12 lakh crore rupees. Shivani Bazaz caught up with some of the companies and asked them about how they're dealing with this recent regulatory change and the tax demand notices. Here's that report.
Well, the online gaming segment in India has seen a remarkable growth in the past few years. From FY20 to FY23, the online gaming segment in India experienced a CAGR of 28%. According to a report launched in the India Gaming Convention here in New Delhi, the online gaming market size stands at 16,428 crore in FY23. However, the new GST regime and retrospective tax actions against companies poses significant challenges for the players. I spoke to Harsh Jain of Dream 11 and Trivikram Thampi of Games 24/7 to know how the industry is coping and their demand from the government.
The government was able to give us clarity that is 28% one time and then not on repeated transactions of the same money, which means that the GST was increased by 300%, still a big hit for the industry, which meant that we calculated about 20-40% hit on revenues, maybe 60%, 50-60% hit on EBITDA. But we still believe that it would be a long-term benefit for the industry. The long-term clarity it gives us and having regulations come in with tax clarity would be a net positive for the industry. But obviously the fact that there's a retrospective tax case on the industry with about 2 lakh crore of tax notices to the industry was not the best outcome. And that is now being fought in court. So we hope that to get that resolved amicably sometime in 2024.
Harsh, you spoke about a very important thing, the GST demand notices, that the retrospective action that the Ministry of Finance is looking at. Tell us, what is the impact?
As one of the largest gaming operators, I can say that no gaming company would be able to pay that amount because it's a multiple of your lifetime revenue, essentially of your last 5 years of revenues. So if that answers your question, I think that if retrospective tax, if this was to be a reality, then I think almost every company would end up in NCLT.
So what is the kind of, talks that we are seeing the industry having with the ministry, and what is the kind of relief that you are looking at?
I think we're already in discussions with the ministry. We have made all our representations showcasing how that we've been paying tax on our revenues from service tax days. GST came out 5 years ago, but we've been around for 15 years. We've always been paying off revenue.
Tell us more about the overarching impact of these huge liabilities, taxation liabilities.
I mean, all I can say is those tax liabilities are, several times the revenues we generated. We don't think they're the right interpretation of the law that existed before. We have challenged it in court. The matter is sub judice, and we are hopeful that the courts will rule in our favor.
Okay. Is there something that the industry wants now, seeks from the ministry, from the government?
The only thing we want from the government now is regulations that help separate out, that achieve two things, and which are really related. One is separate out the wheat from the chaff, the good from the bad, I know the government is very concerned about issues like money laundering after the Mahadev betting scandal has come to light. But there are a lot of operators in this industry who do the right thing, who want to do the right thing, who want to grow the ecosystem, contribute to the Prime Minister's vision of $1 trillion digital economy, pay the taxes. I mean, we talked about 70,000 crores in GST is what this industry can generate over the next 5 years. But I think that separation, which is also useful for the consumer.
Well, according to the industry estimates, the real money sub-segment of online gaming will contribute around 6,500 crore to 6,800 crore as direct tax revenues and 75 to 76,000 crore as indirect tax revenues to the exchequer during FY24 to 28. The industry has clearly taken a hit due to the new GST norm, but online gaming companies are hopeful of a bright future with better regulations. In New Delhi, with video journalist Pradeep Kumar, this is Shivani Bajaj for CNBC-TV18.
Moving on. After Ola and Uber, now ride-hailing startup Rapido has announced its entry into the cab aggregator space. It plans to launch Rapido Cabs with a zero-commission model for cab captains. Rapido's new offering will be available across India. The startup has begun with an initial fleet of 1 lakh vehicles. Co-founder Pawan Guntapalli told my colleague Danish Anand that they plan to charge a subscription fee to users. He also added that the mission is to provide economic solutions for bikes, autos and cabs. Here's a slice of that conversation. Listen in.
Initially, if you look at the entire market, it is already dominated by Ola and Uber. Yeah. So how would you differentiate your company from the other ride-hailing apps?
Yeah. So what we have observed in our interaction with thousands of drivers across the country is that the current industry is facing problems. The prices of the ride are increasing and the earnings of a driver are decreasing. Now for a category that is matured, these are not positive signs. And we have realized the existing business models might be one of the root causes. So we are launching a unique SaaS-based model which is completely transparent, a zero commission model that is lifetime for the care drivers and a very transparent pricing for the users. What we believe is going to happen with this is there will be more and more participation. Drivers who have left these platforms because of which the competition has become intense and whatnot. All these drivers will embrace this new and unique revolutionary business model and the market size is going to increase and that's where we make our play.
Right. Since you've mentioned that this is a zero commission based model, so how is Rapido planning to earn through the cab services that you're launching?
Yeah, so we are just going to charge a subscription fee that for our users. Rapido enjoys this unique position of being a low-cost player. Our mission has been providing economic solutions, whether it be bikes, autos or cabs. Following the same line, our cost structures are also very limited. So we believe that we can sustain our business, ensure profitability just by charging a subscription.
Right. We're talking about the industry now. Recently, the Delhi government came out with an aggregator scheme and they have given clear targets and for two-wheelers, three-wheelers and even four-wheelers to get converted into electric. So what would be your plan regarding this?
Yeah. So just to clarify again, we do not come under the aggregator policy for cabs because we are a SaaS platform right now. But at the same time, being a pioneer in transportation industry, we want to see the roads getting cleaner, the roads getting more sustainable, the vehicles getting more sustainable. So going forward, the next couple of years, we are going to explore extensive partnerships, both in terms of electrifying the existing vehicles as well as getting new electric vehicles on the road. One of the things that we would be majorly focusing on is trying to understand what are the challenges for electrification. Is it only the charging infrastructure or is it the cost or is it the financing solution? So we are going to take a informed approach and then solve that solution.
Right. What would be your plans for fundraising since it's been quite some time since Rapido raised some fresh funds and talking about the ultimate goal of becoming a unicorn, how soon can we expect the company to walk on that road?
So good news is that we are already operationally profitable and we are pretty soon going to be EBITDA profitable. Okay, and unicorn, I think it's just months down the line.
That's Rapido, that's launching cab services now after bikes. On that note, it's a wrap on this edition of Startup Straight from Shruti and me. Thank you, goodbye, and stay with CNBC TV 18 for all your news and updates.